Super Smash Bros. Has a very unique character select screen that I think is really, really cool. When it comes to a lot of character select screens, it's very basic. Just, oh, let me select my guy. And meanwhile, or after, player two will select his guy, and then that's it. Boom. Right? For the most part, character select screens, apart from like their sauce, their style, they are functionally very basic. And so what I like about Super Smash Bros. Is that given that it's a 4-player game, and in this 4-player game you can play with a combination of different human players or CPU players, or you can select the team you want your character to be, your players to be on. It's just a very robust character select screen. So I decided I want to put that in my game too. So as you can see, if I boot up the game and I come to battle, then yeah, it looks very similar to what you would find on like Super Smash Bros. Right? You have the 4-player slots, and then you have 12 character slots. You got the button to go back to the menu, and then you have a label letting you know which mode you're in. And then of course you have the characters that you can select. You can see he's just kind of like inside the box, just kind of chilling. I don't know why he's moving so fast, but don't worry about it. And then whenever you select him, then he does a little pose, and all that's cool. But there's a lot going on under the hood that makes this entire system very special. First things first, as you can see, I have my cursor, and then I have my little puck right here. I can pick up my puck and then move it to whatever guy I want. Don't worry about this. Don't just pretend you don't even see that. That's not. Yeah. Anyway, and also I can add some more players. So if I want to add a player 2, then I can do that. Of course, they would have to press a button on their controller, or I can change it to AI, which is just the CPU. Chill out. Don't worry about the T pose. This character select screen is kind of jank. So I mean, yeah, it's not polished. Don't worry about it. And then I can change the AI's level between 9 or even 1, and you can really tell that I'm taking a lot of inspiration from the original Smash here. And I can just turn off the slot completely. I can also change my own slot and then turn it off, and then I can disconnect my controller. Of course, I can add other players in. So if I go ahead and take my controller and then add him in, then here you go. Now this controller is on player 1, and then my keyboard and mouse is now on player 2. Why is that the case? Why is it that I was player 1 just now, but now I'm player 2, right? Why is it that now I just added my arcade stick, right? So I got my gamepad right here. I got my arcade stick right here, and then my mouse, my keyboard mouse is right here. Why am I doing that? Why am I kicking my mouse further and further back? Well, the answer is because in 99% of cases, if you have multiple players in a group setting trying to play the game together, you are going to be playing with gamepads. You're going to be playing with an arcade stick or a gamepad. You're not going to be playing with the keyboard and mouse. So the player who's on keyboard and mouse, I call him the system player, he gets the least priority. This system is a first come, first serve. So if there's like 5 controllers, or if there's 6 controllers, only 4 can play because it's only up to 4 slots. So the first player, watch, I'll back out of it, and there's no one here. But the first player to input anything is who gets to actually play, right? Because even if you have a controller that's connected, it doesn't know who to add. If you look at Smash Ultimate, what the heck? Oh, what the heck? I think my arcade stick just like randomly disconnected. What the heck? As you can see, if the game detects that your controller turned off, then it'll disconnect you. Anyway, if you look at the latest Smash Bros, Smash Ultimate, you will see a similar thing where these player slots will be empty until you actually input something. right? Now, if let's say I don't want to play anymore, but then my friend right next to me does want to play, but then all 4 slots are already taken up, well, no problem. I mean, there's 2 solutions. Number one, I could just back out of the menu and just have everyone reconnect and everything. That's really stupid. Instead, I can just disconnect, and now homeboy can join in and everything's good. Or I could just give him my controller, but let's say he doesn't want to play with my controller, he wants to play with his. In that case, yeah, I would just disconnect, and then that's it, right? I cannot mess with their slots because they're human players. I can mess with mine, and I can mess with the one that's not a human yet. I can go ahead and turn mine off right here, and then I can turn mine off right here, and then if I join in, I'm right here now. But then if he comes in, then now he's here and I'm over here. So it's all working accordingly. It's all, very much so first come, first serve, fill in the first available slot. But then if I'm a system player, then a gamepad or an arcade stick comes in, then the system player gets booted and booted and booted until eventually, if there's 4 gamepads, then the system player gets completely kicked off, because realistically, if you're in a party setting, you're not going to be playing with a keyboard while everyone else has a doggone gamepad. So, yeah. Anyway, how am I doing this? How is it possible that I have 4 different mice, right? I'm using my mouse right now to control all this, and then this guy, and then this guy. How is that possible? Because I'm doing this in Godot, and Godot doesn't allow you to have more than 1 mouse. Under the hood, it doesn't allow you to hover over more than 1 object at a time. So if you want to create this character select screen, you have to do something a bit more custom. What I have opted to do, I will have to go into the hold on one second, debug, and turn on visible collision shapes. Here. So as you can see, everything that's blue is a hitbox. Just like how within the actual game you have these hitboxes that determine if an attack connects or not. Similarly, every single button on the screen has its own hitbox, and then your cursor has its own hitbox. If you look very closely on the very tip of your cursor, there's like a 1 pixel hitbox, and if you hover that hitbox over a button with its own hitbox, then you will be able to press that button. Of course, he has his hitbox, I have my hitbox, he has his hitbox, I have my hitbox. Everyone has their own little cursor with their little hitbox, and then we're all just kind of, if you imagine like a top-down 2D game like Zelda, and how you control your 2D character on the screen, and you can have multiple characters on the screen at a time. That's essentially what these are. I'm essentially controlling 4 different characters, and they all have their little hitbox. And then if I bring my character, I can also control my cursor with the keyboard, right? If I bring my little character over here, and then I press the accept button, then I will perform the action that's associated with this button. This button has its own code that runs whenever I press the accept button while my hitbox is touching it. And then, if I hover my cursor over my puck, then now my cursor's hitbox is connecting with 2 different hitboxes, the hitbox of the character box, and then the hitbox of my puck. So how does it know which one to choose? Basically, the puck, because it's in front, it has more priority. Also, another thing is that the hitboxes do not actually appear unless the button or unless the UI element is visible. So if I turn this off, then the hitbox isn't visible. If I turn it on, then the hitbox is visible. So that's how that's working. Also, I forgot to mention, but the pucks, they have collision. So you can see how the pucks are, they're like kind of, colliding and whatnot. So yeah, one more feature that I want to mention, and then that will be it. If I select a character and then my cursor is up here, and then I deselect my character, the puck will come to me. But if I deselect my character while the puck is down here, then I will come to the puck. This is a feature that goes as far back as the original Smash Bros. Why is that the case? It's a very interesting user experience boost. If you think about it, all of the extra information, like trying to select the AI level and trying to change my name tag and my character colors and all that crap, all that is secondary information. The primary information is up here. If I'm deselecting my character while my cursor is down here, then there's no point in staying down here. I have to come up here and then reselect him or select someone else. So if I deselect down here, I'll come up there. Similarly, or I guess the opposite would be that if I select my character here and then I realize, oh crap, actually I want to select this guy right here who doesn't exist yet. Then I click, and then I'm like, oh crap, I can't select him because my cursor is way on the left side. So now I have to come all the way over here and then select him, and then come all the way over here and then select him. And that's too much. That's too much. So instead, and so that's why it does that. That's why whenever you're here, it comes to you, and whenever you're down here, you come to it. It's so simple, but like, yo, makes all the difference. And yeah, that's pretty much the character select screen. A lot of this is not my own design. I copied the crap out of others. And honestly, this character select screen is not going to work for my game. I'm going to have to completely revamp the character select screen because it doesn't work well with the touchscreen. And this is a mobile first game. Although yes, you can play this game with the keyboard and you can play it with a gamepad, you can play it with an arcade stick, it's primarily built around the touchscreen experience. And the touchscreen doesn't need a cursor. The whole purpose of a cursor is that my keyboard or my gamepad is a real life object that cannot interact with this fictional 2D world on the screen right now. So the cursor acts as like a middleman between my real life gamepad and the 2D fake screen that you're looking at right now. But with a touchscreen, I can directly interact with this 2D world because I can just tap. So the cursor is completely irrelevant, number one, and number two, the whole thing just feels clunky. But I figured that maybe someone else who is working on their own game and wants to create something similar, they might need some guidance on how to do this, or maybe y'all were just interested period in how I did this. So yeah, here you go. This is how I made the character select screen in my fighting game Nizaal. So if you enjoyed that, please like and subscribe because I got more videos, more updates coming out in the future. And yeah, deuces.